Welcome to Center of Focus, where I, Anna Kreowski, break down the psychology behind elite sport performance. In this episode, I have my first ever guest, and we will be discussing the mental side of water polo and what it means to be a woman in athletics. Today, we will take you into the mental side of being the center of the storm and how shifting your focus can make or break a game. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Anna Kreowski. I discuss sport psychology, and today we're diving into the mental side of water polo with our special guest, Emily Lopez, aka Lopes. I have known Lopes for 8 years, but we've been close for like three, two, something like that. Um, we were high school rivals, rivals at community college, and then teammates and roommates. So we know each other really well. Okay, to start off the podcast, can you introduce yourself for the class and share a bit about your water polo journey, including what you're doing now?
Hey. um, I'm Emily Lopez, but you can call me Lopes, and a lot of people know me as Lopes or Coach Emily or Coach Lopes. Um, and yeah, me and Anna have known each other like through a distance, but finally got together and became friends as we went to CBU together. Um, yeah, so I played at City College. Obviously, I played at high school first. I started out playing water polo in high school first. So I started when I was like 16 years old, kind of a late start. And then went to a city college, went that route, and then transferred out to a collegiate college, a D1 college. So that's my experience. Now, as I finished my degree and got my undergrad, I'm now getting my master's or planning on getting my master's this final year that I have and looking to either go through a grad position or play one last time, which is really exciting. I also have interest to like play overseas maybe, or just kind of see where the sport takes me. But I'm really grateful for the sport, and it's given me a lot of great people in my life and great opportunities as a person. So yeah, and I coach still. I've been coaching since I was like 17 or 18, um, and have really honed in on it for like throughout the early stages of my 20s and everything. So I've coached hundreds of kids now and keep getting pulled back to coaching and playing. So yeah, here I am and excited to talk about it all.
Period. Yes. All right. Um, First, obviously Lopes is very well versed in athletics, obviously being a coach and being an athlete. We both have huge insight within athletics and what it means to also be a woman in athletics. What do you think that means to you, being a woman in athletics?
Oh wow. That is such a loaded question. You know, there's so many different elements to being a woman in general, and then piling athletics on top of it. Not only is there a lot of pressure to perform, but there's a lot of obstacles that come our way. Obviously, like we're facing a equality crisis in terms of payment and recognition in our sports, which is an ongoing thing it's been since the beginning for us. But I think it's really powerful though to be a female athlete because we kind of walk around with a chip on our shoulder. However, I think it just kind of empowers us as individuals to represent something really special and bigger than ourselves. And especially playing collegiately, there's so many young girls that I know that I've come in contact with that I've been coaching, or just even other young athletes in general, maybe even from a different sport besides water polo. And it's inspiring for young athletes, you know, to keep pushing forward and also personally, like, I use my sport to have an outlet towards my education, and I think it's really important to be educated as a young woman, to get your foot in the door and to be obviously like more cutting edge, and we kind of have to be. So for me, I'm proud to use my medium being water polo to further my education, further my opportunities, but also I think it just shows all the young girls out there that they can also do the same and kind of carve out a path for themselves, um, through their talents. So, yeah, that's what it means to me. And it's a really fun experience as well. And I've met amazing women, throughout my journey, amazing friends, amazing
Yeah.
teammates, amazing coaches and stuff. So it's been wonderful, and I'm really grateful to be who I am
Yeah.
and share this experience with other female athletes for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I love being a woman. I love being a woman in athletics. One of my favorite things too is honestly playing against men and just like proving just how diverse we are in the water, and also just the difference between how men play and how women play. That's also huge too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have many memories playing locally at different Masters tournaments, whether it's like for the national tournament that goes on every year or just picking up and playing on Sundays. I mean, a lot of men have shaped who I am too along the way of playing the sport. And I've met so many amazing coaches. Um, and but playing masters specifically has made me a better player. I mean, going against people, um, and dads pretty much going against people that are in their 40s and have totally retired from the sport and learning how they play and having to go against their strength. I don't know if many other sports like really do that, but I'm grateful for the opportunities that have been presented to me to do that on Sundays or do it like through whatever work experience or whatever it is and kind of challenge myself. Um, and it just made me better. And it is a lot of fun, you're right, to play against other men and just kind of laugh about it as well. And I mean, too, we see it in the Olympics specifically. Men and women play the sport way differently, but both are just as exciting. Um, and men can also recognize like there's way more grabbing with our
Oh
suits.
yeah,
There's
I
way
was gonna
more
say it's the
physicality.
grabbing. It's the
Yeah,
grabbing
I
that
mean
they
it's a way
they
different
like don't.
approach to the game.
Yeah, because we have a lot of. So for those of you who don't know much about water polo, um, we wear suits, and the men full body suits, obviously, and the men wear speedos. So for the guys, they're really slippery because they don't there's nothing to grab onto, and for us women, like, you're grabbing onto here, you're grabbing onto the lower parts of your suit, like there's a lot of area to grab. You're grabbing here, like lower down, because there's so much fabric, and we've always been taught to do that, so we have a lot of scratches on our bodies
Yeah,
after
I mean 100%.
tournaments and games.
I mean I mean too if you like people know that play the sport too, but yeah, a quick rundown of it is obviously there's um, 7 players, including a goalie, in the game, 6 field players, and it's kind of like soccer, basketball, and wrestling all mashed together. The objective is to get the ball in the
And
net,
rugby
obviously. Yeah,
a
sure,
little bit.
and kind of like the back and forth
Wrestling.
of and the countering and just the different like invisible triangles that are in soccer kind of similar, but in terms of like positions as well, we have centers, we have defenders, we have attackers, we have utilities as well, but kind of similar to soccer in the sense that there's wings and there's not really like a midfield or anything, but like we have players up top, 3 players down low, and a center or a whole set, and we have a defender as well, similar to soccer, as I was saying, and a goalie, obviously. But yeah, the way we play the sport is way different compared to men. There's a lot more high speed. There's usually more shooting, um, and also they kind of play off of each other a little bit more. And if you enter that ball in the center, it's going in, you know. Whereas for women, there's a lot more physicality. There's a lot higher pressure that's had in the game as well. And it's a different pace of the game, but both are both are done. I mean, I obsess over the game. I love the game. I can't get enough of the game, and I love watching both our teams. And if you don't know anything about water polo, you should definitely watch. You can go on YouTube and look it up. Any of the past Olympic games with any team, and it's just like amazing to see what we're capable of doing in the water. You know.
Oh yeah, and water polo for us, it's kind of niche. I have, my best friend, she plays rugby, and so I've been introduced into the rugby world more so around here, and I found a lot of similarities with it, but I still don't understand. I don't understand it. But I wanted to bring up Alona and Tilly Kearns. So Tilly Kearns is someone that is very profound in the water polo community. She just graduated from USC. She is an Olympian for Australia and then came over to the States to continue and play for USC. But during the Olympic year, she took a couple years off and then COVID and everything. So she's been playing. She's been playing for a while. She's been at USC for a while, but that makes it all the harder for her to leave. But I know that Alona and Tilly are probably some of the most prominent people that we've seen recently. Alona's more prominent now because of her Dancing with the Stars, but I would
For
love to
sure.
see Tilly, you know, um, have that moment. Can we get Tilly on Dancing with the
Really?
Stars? Is that
I
is
know,
that an
right?
option? Well, because
I
her
know.
boyfriend's in the NFL. He plays for the Rams, right?
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
I think
get them
yeah,
on
I
Dancing with the
mean,
Stars.
we need a moment for water polo recognition in
We need the
mainstream.
moment for the water polo. Is my point.
I
My
mean,
point is, yeah.
yes. It's super niche and most people just hear about water polo and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can never do it." Um
Yeah, everyone's
and
always
but
like, it's so hard. That's such a hard sport. Yes.
yeah, we don't have many
I mean,
like
I guess.
celebrities or like influencers that are really around besides like Maggie Steffens obviously has a huge following. Some of the men like Max Irving has some, but or Johnny Hooper is pretty prominent, like just on Instagram and social media. But Tilly Kearns has definitely like paved a new way towards the water polo community and towards giving recognition to being kind of an influencer water polo professional. Like, so it's kind of it's fun to see how she approaches it, and she keeps it really lighthearted, which I appreciate. I mean, obviously she's wearing a silver medal around her neck too, so it's giving a lot of
Yeah, so
yeah, it's
represent.
giving a lot of yeah, it's giving a lot of feedback or a lot of recognition towards her country and kind of the sport in general. And I really appreciate people that are paving the way and giving more recruitment towards the sport, honestly. And we'll probably see more of it coming up in the next few years. We'll see more people like Tilly Kearns hop on TikTok and say day in the life of a water polo athlete. But I mean, that's what it's all about. Is again, like you were saying earlier, and asking about like inspiring young female athletes to follow their dreams is really incredible to watch. And you know, coaching some of these girls and seeing them go off and getting recruited to the next level is really rewarding for me. So, I mean, probably same thing for them. I know she mentions like on her stories and stuff, like people DM her and ask her how'd she do it, and sharing with other women and supporting other women is really special, and it's a unique bond. Like womanhood and girlhood is a unique bond, and it's nice to share your knowledge, you know, and your experience.
Welcome back. Tilly Kearns and people that you see online, I think sometimes when you're younger and you're looking up to them as role models, you're like, I could never do that. You're like, I could never be that. Or you see someone and I don't know, of course, probably you, girls look up to you all the time that you're coaching. And they're like, I don't know how I could ever be her, or I could ever be doing this. Comparison, shout out Darren. In his bio, he always had comparison is the thief of joy. And that is so true. And when it comes to where you're going to go, what you're going to do, don't put so much pressure on yourself, because that's where you're going to fall. And that's where it's going to be the end. Having confidence, and this is why sports psychology is so important, and really talking to a younger audience and being able to feel confident within the sport that you're playing, but also loving what you're doing. Because if you're being forced to play your sport, if you don't love it, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Where's the passion? If you're being forced to do it, ultimately at the end of the day, you're going to be unhappy and you're not going to get where you want to be. So don't ever think, especially as a woman, that it's not achievable, because it is. And there was always something in the back of my mind. I was like, there's going to be a day, man. I was like, there's going to be a day.
Right. There's gonna be a day, and you're gonna feel
Like,
it. You're gonna feel my
I was
wrath
like, there's going to be a day. Like, your time is going to come.
for sure.
Maybe it's this podcast.
Hey,
Maybe it's this podcast.
maybe it's this podcast. My mom always used to say the same thing. That patience or good things come to those who wait. And if it's your
There's
time,
a
it's your
song
time.
by Nathan Sky, Good Things Come to Those Who Wait. Everyone, go listen to it. That was my jam when I was in high school. And it was very niche, and I was like the only person listening to it, but it got me through some things. Right.
I don't even know that song, but I'm just gonna support. There you go.
You should listen to it.
I was gonna
Let's listen to
say,
it. No, just kidding.
pull it up. Let's take a break. Just kidding.
I caught you right now
Um,
when. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up.
bongos. When she says bongos, bongos,
Bongos. I can't say the rest of this, what
bongos,
that is, but bongos.
bongos.
You were saying, I'm so sorry, I cut you off.
I was saying, I was saying that
Good things come to those who wait.
yes, and also everything happens for a reason. I always say that, and like I know like it's not always the best phrase to hear in times of trouble, but for me it helps me because it's like I'm going through this pit or valley like for a reason, and it all kind of like makes sense in the end for me. And for me too, like I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was my. Oh, we have the song pulled up, ladies and gentlemen. Take a quick listen. Oh, I'll keep going. Here we go. And I was just gonna say, like, you look back at your journey and how far you've come, and take a look in the like rear view mirror, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I've done all this stuff, I've accomplished all these things. And for me, like recently I've looked at my resume and I'm like looking at the timeline of my accomplishments and stuff. Or I've been recently packing up my childhood home and have all of these awards and stuff, and I just don't even remember half of them. And it's pretty rewarding to look back and be like, oh, I didn't even, at the time, I didn't get the opportunity to celebrate myself. But now, being an adult and kind of coming to the end of it all, it's like really sweet and wholesome to be like, wow, I did all this stuff. So it's all in the correct timing, in divine timing. So yeah, if you're struggling and
Right.
you're thinking, why me, for whatever your situation might be, just be patient and don't put so much pressure on yourself, like Dr. Anna was saying.
Oh.
Hey,
No, but
Dr. Anna.
I was also going to say that how beautifully said too, because there's also a difference, and there's a huge difference between being, confident and cocky. And so you are one of the most confident, like, people in your sport that I've seen, and doesn't have a cockiness to them that makes others feel bad about themselves, which is very hard to do sometimes when you know your worth, because knowing your worth is so important. And I want every woman who's listening, every little girl, everyone who's out there, just to like know that, and know that you are worth it. And also, you're more than your sport. That's something huge that everyone has to learn, and I had to learn the hard way, um with all the accomplishments too, because you kind of hit that, you can hit a peak at some point, and then where do you go from there, right? Like, so comparing yourself to, you know yourself, even,
Yeah, I was just
because I
about to
was
say
comparing
that. Like
myself to
you're
myself. Yeah.
right, right. 100%.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, I was just gonna say I get that. Like I relate to that. I think a lot of people relate to that. And thank you for your compliment. I really appreciate that. I also
of
like
course.
I think everyone does, or I mean, like maybe I'm just only speaking to a small amount of people, but for a lot of us, we turn on a switch when we go into our
Yes.
sport or go into a game or go into practice. And I've been told many times I turn on a switch and I'm not the
Right.
same person in and out of the water. And for me, it's
I
kind of
said that
like,
the last time we were talking about this
yeah,
compartmentalization, we
yeah,
talked about this too.
I for
Our
sure
last
flipped the
we've
switch.
This is our second time filming this, by the way. First
Yep,
time was way more
it's the first go. It's the first go.
informational. No, it was very informational. So we're trying to be less informational this time, but so keep you interested. But also at the same time, I will be having solo
There's some good
podcasts where I
stuff.
talk about sports psychology. So just want everybody to know
Ooh.
that. Don't worry, this isn't just going to be me and someone else just rambling. Yeah, welcome to the realness.
Oh my God, this is funny.
Lord,
Having a
I'm
great
sorry.
time.
This
It's
is
a great
not
time. Happy Memorial Day, y'all. I just,
Happy Memorial Day. It is Memorial Day. I've driven about 4 hours today.
yep, I
Um,
drove, you know,
yeah.
I
So
drove three
I
hours
may
yesterday.
be
Quickest
a little tired.
ever. Yeah. Quickest
Huh?
trip of
What'd you
my
say?
entire life. Quickest trip of my entire life from
Oh,
hometown to back home,
Dirty
current
River.
apartment. Like, dude, 3 hours flat. For
Rona.
those of you don't take now, let me tell you something. I won't gatekeep this, but I better not see too many of y'all on the road. Leave where if you are coming from NorCal to SoCal, leave at 7:30 at night on a Sunday. 3 hours flat.
You left at
It was
7:30
like
last night?
it was like I was cutting the road in half. Yeah, it's
Oh
like I cut
yeah.
the road.
No, I
I
did
took
that.
some
I've
scissors,
done that before too. I did that one time. Actually, I didn't
cracked the
leave at like
code.
7:30, but I did leave like when it was kind of light out.
It was amazing. And
So for anyone who wants to know, Lopes and I are from the 805, represent.
yeah, yeah,
So,
different counties though.
d-
Different
oh,
counties.
yeah, yeah, different counties, but 805. We're 805.
Yep.
And like we were talking earlier, I'm going to reel it back in. I know we were talking about something completely different, but I am going to circle back. Circling back, compartmentalization. Lopes is, we were talking about this last time. Lopes is probably one of the best people that I've seen at compartmentalization, because, and also just as a teammate. And we talked about this in our last time. So if you guys didn't know, Lopes is the ultimate hype man, DJ. What else? uh, emotional support, hype man, vibe bringer. Vibe bringer is probably the best way to describe it. And I do have an image for the audience to be able to see. I will also bring it back to the song we were talking about earlier, and I will play a clip of that. So this is Lopes, guys.
Yep, that's me.
And for the audio
Justin,
listeners,
insert picture
this is
here,
Lopes holding coffee from Wanders, which is Wanda's.
Yep.
And her speaker, JBL speaker, not a practice
Heyo.
nor a game without the JBL speaker, cap,
Nah.
sunscreen, all over the face, and our lovely sunglasses. That was a great day. I think I remember that day. That was a wonderful day.
That is every day for me.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't really
Yes.
know how. For me, I just have to do that. Like, I have to, in my brain, I flip it on. I think I keep it really light and fun outside of the pool because that's who I am, like, in my heart and to a core. But I also have this really competitive side of me, and I work really hard. Like, that's another part of me in with all the other stuff, the fun parts that I bring. Because it just brings me joy, and it also, like, helps me loosen up a little bit because when I play kind of uptight, like I don't play how I want to play, and I just play better and have more fun when I'm laughing about it a little bit. So it's kind of like a routine that I've created for myself, and other people seem to like it. So
yeah, and routines are so important as well.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I started seeing I started seeing our sports psychologist, and kind of also created a routine in the pool for myself, that I felt was fit and necessary for me individually, which is, I'm a team player like through and through, but sometimes you kind of have to do that to really get yourself focused and ready for however your brain, sees the game. But yeah, I'm pretty good at flipping it on and off, and even putting on my coaching hat and taking it off and being who I am, and even being a player in the pool and then flipping it off and being a friend outside of the pool is just like something I've learned to do over the years. I think too, I play really intensely and pretty aggressively that I kind of have to like remind people of who I am outside of the pool. Because it can get lost in translation. It's just kind of like the style that I play and was taught how to play. So I don't know. I love making it fun for everyone, and I'm sure so many people have a teammate like me on their team, but if they don't, maybe I can do lessons, a tutorial. Don't know. I don't know. I guess I just know how to read a room well, I guess. I don't know. And grew up listening to some bomb music. Thanks, Dad. And
yeah,
the rest is
80s.
history, baby.
Oh, shout out Careless Whisper by George Michael. So we were talking about routines. And I have a routine, pre-game routine. Honestly, I have to get into a specific mode the night before. I listen to sport meditations when I go to sleep.
Really?
And that really helps me too. I didn't tell you that? You didn't know that?
I didn't know they had specific ones like focused for that.
Yeah.
Like focused for sports performance. I didn't know that.
Yeah. YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
YouTube, mental
YouTube.com.
performance, sport, mindset, meditation, something like that. Yeah, so just honestly like positive energy, good energy. I would listen to those. And like Lopes was saying, she has her routine in the water pregame. So pregame outside of the water, and then her routine inside of the water. So two separate routines. So I recommend for anyone playing any sport to have a routine and know once you start that routine, that's where your mindset is headed. So making sure that you have that and are able to compartmentalize enough
Yeah. I
for your
think too,
sport.
like, I think too, graduating as well, like, I think a lot of athletes are used to routine. You know, wake up for 8 a.m. practice, go to the 3 hour training, 2 hour training, go to school, drive home, get ready, like have another practice, like all the stuff we all experience them as athletes, full time athletes, and I think routine is something really necessary for me as a person, especially as an athlete, and it's one of the most rewarding things I've gotten, being an athlete for as long as I have been now. Um, and routine, if you have fallen out of routine as an athlete or retired athlete, um, I mean, you could probably elaborate on this too, but it's just like super important for our function, and holding ourselves to those certain tasks that kind of make us feel productive as a person, um, and sticking to it. I am excited to see what my routine will be kind of as a NARP soon. Um, but it's also really nice to like have time for yourself. Obviously, it's summertime now, but um, like just hearing some of my other friends who have retired from their sport and graduated and move on, it's hard to find a new routine for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I've had to find, a new routine, and after experiencing burnout after a certain amount of time, um having a new routine. Now I'm thankful to say that I have a pretty good routine right now, and I'm doing this and I'm continuing with my business and advertising for myself. So it's been a lot of fun kind of navigating that, and definitely flipping the mindset too on not playing my sport anymore, but looking at the horizons more on a point of I accomplished a lot. So now here's the next chapter in my life, which will be just as good, just as fun, and I'm able to still do the things that I love, especially working out. But that's the thing that's hard as an athlete. And I definitely want to take like a whole episode on that, on seeing. I do want to do a research project too on athletes post graduation, retirement, and how working out for them has been, or what the time difference was on when if they took a break and what they did after they took a break, and if they were able to find a good routine. So, to go into a different topic, I wanted to talk about basically, so team dynamics. What role does team dynamics play in the way that you view how important it is for a dynamic to be cohesive, not almost cohesive in a way, because there isn't going to be extremely a cohesive dynamic at all times. There's going to be differences and diversity and all of that, but how does team dynamic play in performance and as a unit and for you?
Yeah, I think I know we mentioned this kind of in our last episode too, but it still holds true. Like for me, I could never really do an individual sport. Obviously, I had to do swim, but throughout the years, but it's still kind of a team sport at the end of it all. And being a part of a team is super special, and learning from other people's experiences, as a teammate, and learning how to be empathetic and learning how to sympathize with other people's backgrounds and stories, is a really special bond that you'll have with that group of people forever. Every year that I've been on a different team has been different. from my city college experience to my D1 experience, like from high school, all my friendships and bonds I have with those teammates is special and unique. And that's just it. Like being able to share something different each year and relate to different people each year and maybe get to know people more, like people that maybe you wouldn't come across in life, um, is a special thing. And I think being able to take the time, I've said this before in like sports psych meetings as in a team environment, but I think it's really important for teammates. And I remember distinctively like taking the intention to learn more about my teammates and saying like I'm going to say hi, how are you to this person today, and or I want to learn more about that person, and oh there's four new freshmen, I want to learn about where they're from, what they're doing, what they like, what their major is like, and taking the initial thought to reach out to people and learn about them and then eventually love them for all their flaws and all they are is a mature factor for sure, but it's a necessary factor. And I'm excited to share that with teams that I'm coaching and individual athletes. And, some people are talented naturally at their sport. And some people work hard to make up for their lack of talent, maybe. But for all those in between, the
Yeah,
ones that are talented, the
100%.
ones that work hard, whatever it is, especially for those that are talented, like just naturally have the knack and they just get in or they just pick up a ball and just have it. For those individuals, I really think it's important to teach them how to be better leaders. And what I just kind of mentioned, like taking the initiative to learn more about your teammates and how they click is going to be able to make your team better and make you better as a teammate. And taking the mind effort um, is really important. And I think it's what makes a good team great, especially like I said for those talented athletes that just like pick up a ball and they have it. Like sometimes those kids are the ones that maybe lack a little bit of leadership because they just ball out and that's it. And so being able to grow mentally and grow in the category of leadership is really important. So I definitely emphasize that when I'm coaching too, or I try to, um, and mentor kids to add that into their routine or add that into their learning curve. Is okay, how can I be a better leader and a better teammate? So
Yeah, 100%. What would you say to someone that says that sport performance psychology isn't real?
oh for me it's given me a lot of great tips and tricks. Like I fully support it, and I think it's really important to teach young athletes that there are resources for them, like I said, to strengthen their mind, not only all their physical abilities, their reps with the ball, their reps, in and off the field, whatever it is, whatever sport they're playing, their reps in the weight room. It's not just about all those reps physically, but it's all it all comes together when you add the mental side of things into it. Especially like for me, I really believe in visualization, and it's really helped me a lot to kind of meditate before practice, even when I'm feeling anxious or stressed. And pressure is real. Being able to perform in high pressure situations is a very I think only other athletes will really understand it, or maybe people with really high performing careers or high pressure careers, I should say. But it's crazy that our minds can actually go through these performances, and it's almost like stage fright. Like being able to perform in front of a crowd of people, in front of your closest friends and teammates, like and be able to do amazing things without even thinking is crazy to me, and it just kind of shows that we need sports psych, because what happens when you grow, you know, the adrenaline is no longer enough for you to pull through and perform, or a coach yelling at you no longer works out for you to pull it out of you to perform. And being able to soothe yourself and have your own back kind of in your head and be your number one supporter is something that sports psych has taught me as well, in times where I maybe doubted myself or doubted all the training that I've put in the years, and the preparation and years of experience that you gain along the way of being an athlete. Like, that is going to stand to the test of time, because it's just a fact and a stat that you have under your belt, that I put in the time to do this stuff, and be where I'm at now. And no one can take that away from me. And however, I think, especially for me individually, like, my biggest enemy is sometimes myself. Like, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially, perfectionists. Like, that's just how we click. And there's a lot of us out there, there's a lot of athletes out there that can relate to what I'm saying, I'm sure, that I've, like I said, met along the way of my journey. Yeah, and it's like, having sports psych as a resource is so important, because it allows us to ask for help. And that's kind of the point of it all. Like, we get to a point, especially at the highest level, where we know what to do, we know how to do it, we know the game, and asking for help and using the resource that's at your
Is
fingertips,
not a weakness.
it's
It
not a
is a
weakness, and
strength.
it's for sure. And I think many athletes that are advocating for it can attest for that. And sorry, I don't mean to ramble, but it's just like, it's really important. And it's, like I said, it's a rep. It's a rep for your brain. It's another thing that you have to strengthen in your mind, and to be a part of being the best version of yourself. So, yeah.
Sorry, my mother just came in. Anyways, no, you're good. So, but that was great. All of that was so great. And I know that a bunch of athletes are going to listen to that and resonate with it and be able to navigate their own journey, which is ultimately the goal. We want you to be able to navigate your own journey and be able to be your own coach, right? You want to be your cheerleader. At the end of the day, who's going to be your cheerleader? It's going to be yourself. You can't look for the validation of others. If you're going to keep looking for the validation of others, then you might as well just walk away now, because you're not going to get that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not going to happen, especially if you're just looking for it from one specific person, whether that may be a coach or a teammate. There's going to be people that aren't going to like you. There's going to be people that aren't going to have your back. On a team, we have to have each other's backs. So when we're in the water, we're going to have each other's backs. That's how it's going to roll. But sometimes when you're outside of the pool, there's nothing to it. And that's okay too. So it's important to know that also it's okay to ask for help, like we were talking about. On that note, how did you handle any moments of conflict or miscommunication?
Um, for me, like, I just feel like, when in doubt, be yourself. And I've always just kind of been myself. And in times of conflict or miscommunication, like, being positive is such a power. Like, it's really easy, and I think it's easier to be negative. Like, it is, like, to see all the things that are going wrong in your life, and think woe is me. But taking the higher road and being positive and finding a solution to things and being like, okay, how can I kind of spread love and kindness to the situation, to resolve it or find a common ground for myself and this person, allows you to not waste your brain power and continue to do the routine that you're set out to do, continue to do your intentions, and your common goal that you probably have, with whoever like you're facing a conflict with. Like,
Right. At the end of the day, your teammates also going to have that same want and need. You guys are on a team. You want to see each other succeed. I loved though what you said earlier about really taking the time and the initiative is the word I was looking for, to ask people about themselves and really get to know them. Because the more that I've experienced teammates, the more that I've experienced, is that there's always something that you can find in common with someone else. We are all human. We are all going through this walk of life. And even if you don't necessarily completely enjoy them, I genuinely don't really find that a lot, because I can find certain things that I love about a person or really admire or really care about. And I think that's also so beautiful as being a woman in athletics, because you can find that. And the compartmentalization as well. And I know that guys are very different at this too when they get into the pool, or they aren't so, they don't hold on to things as much, I guess. Once they fight it out, they go straight back in and they can dab it up and be cool about it. And sometimes I feel like with us, especially within water polo, that's exactly what we do. That's exactly what we do. We were in there and we were fighting it out, and then we'd come back on the pool deck and we'd be like, "All good, dude. All good."
I mean,
Honestly.
yeah, I mean, there's a common phrase that is shared between every team that I've ever like come across, is just keep it in the water, you know? And once you hop out of that pool, it's like, okay, like this is my teammate. And at the end of the day, like we practice as hard as we do and we do all the things that we need to do to make each other better. So if I'm here like playing as hard as I can on you, it's because it's kind of like an act of love, you know? It's like I'm doing this because I love my team. That's like I want our team to be better. I love my teammate that I have to go hard on. And if I'm not going to do it, someone else is going to do it. And so I want them to feel prepared. And same thing, like I want to feel prepared too as an individual for whoever I'm going to face, an opponent I'm going to face. But at the end of the day, like if someone messes with my teammate, like I have their back. And that kind of just goes back to what I was saying earlier, like investing your time into individuals, investing your time into teammates, to grow a relationship with them is a special bond that you'll have forever. But it's like a bond that can't be broken, you know? Like it's a loyalty kind of thing. It's kinship, it's family, it's you know, like it's the whole point of it all, you know? It's the whole point is to relate to other people, to find out what they've been through, and to become better people and be surrounded with good people, good water polo, and or whatever your sport may be, and become a better player from it, you know? And
Right.
that's just like what keeps me coming back to it all. I just somehow keep finding great people and, you know, love good water polo. So,
And there's a great balance that can be found within water polo too, because we're in there really, really fighting around. Not to say that there isn't a line. Don't get me wrong. There is a line, and communication is 100% important. When we say leave it in the pool, we don't mean just completely disregard something that is not okay, right? But definitely at the end of the day, leaving it in the pool when it's just more of like a physical altercation or something like that, that's what we mean, because a lot of people don't really understand that, because the physical side of it is really physical, but still having fun and not. Oh, I watched a video the other day of Alona playing against someone, I can't remember what team for rugby, and they just kind of battled it out, and then laughed and just had a great time. It's all about having fun. It's all about having fun and enjoying who you're with, enjoying what you're doing, making sure that you align on a team. So when you're looking at going somewhere, when you're looking at continuing your career, like I said earlier, make sure you have that passion and you love what you're doing. If you just love what you're doing because you love when you accomplish things, you don't love what you're doing, right? The whole entire point of it is to be able to love the process. And if you don't love the process, then we have a problem. And that's what I experienced as well, is not loving the process. And I realized I did have to take a step back at a certain point, which is okay. And doesn't mean I did anything wrong or anyone else did anything wrong, but I did what was right for myself. And that's ultimately the most important thing to do. So I encourage everyone to do that. And I know you're still continuing and doing the best for you, and I'm so excited to see the next in the future for you. So excited.
Thanks. I know. I'm excited too. Like, I keep getting pulled back. I've been saying recently to people that are close to me, I keep getting pulled back um, to be involved with the sport, and it's blessed me with a lot of great things in my life, and some great friendships, and that I coin as family, and to like be a part of some really special occasions and stuff like in some of my teammates' life is really cool. Like being able to do this with you and like support you and your like new business and everything is like really special, and like it's like I said, it's what it's all about. And I kind of I really like what you said about passion and don't do it if you can't enjoy the process. Like for me, it's I love practice, and if I don't love practice, something's wrong. And I've been doing this for a long time, and so at some point you kind of have to have a new relationship with your sport, and have a new conversation with yourself about why do I love the sport? Did I fall out of love with the sport? And for me, the mold was not
Absolutely.
fit.
On that note, though,
What I
I
Yeah,
want to ask you a specific question. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but this goes exactly with
you're
what you're
good.
saying. So, did you ever struggle with your athletic identity? And how did you navigate that? And I think you were kind of really going on that a little bit, but like you said, it changes. Your
Yeah.
relationship with your sport
Yeah.
changes. So how did that change for you?
Um, yeah, I think in the beginning of everything, like we're constantly like trying to find the best version of ourselves, the highest level of performance for ourselves. And when we reach that and we've reached the peak, the top of the mountain, it's like, oh, okay, like this is really great. And like how can I how can I get even higher than this? And for me, like once we can always be better, of course. Like we can always learn something new. We can always be a student of the game. Like that's kind of the humbleness that I try to always keep going within myself. But like in addition
Yeah,
to
there's
that,
always
like
something someone can
my
teach you.
yeah, for sure. And I think when the physical stuff is already achieved, that's where the emotional and mental part of it all is then added to it all. It added to the mix. And for me, I, am at the top of the mountain. I'm looking around, and it's like, okay, what's missing? And for a while, I was coaching and coaching and coaching, and my first year, like at the D1 level, I took a break from coaching, and I was like, well, this is cool. Like I'm at the top of the mountain, but something seems off. And adding coaching back into my life, like, and this is different for everyone. Maybe people are passionate about art. People are passionate about like reading. People are passionate about, maybe whatever religion they subscribe to. Like having a different outlet like that completes you, I think also elevates your game because it's like struggling with your identity athletically is just like it's a part of who you are, but like you said earlier, it's not all that you are. It just is an experience that has shaped you for who you are. And being able to say like this is my medium for what I'm doing for how I shape myself is really special, and I can bond, and there's a community to that. But at the same time, like I think I have become complete by teaching others how I was able to do this and sharing my knowledge. And I think that's what kind of has completed me in my identity and given me, like peace and reshape my passion for it, because it's like, I of course maybe I'll go overseas, maybe I'll play for a different who knows, maybe I'll find myself playing on a different team at a different time, which I would love to do as a player. But for me, what really makes me complete is being able to teach others about my journey and how I'm able to do this skill, but even how I've been able to be a good person and how to be a good teammate. And I think my best advice for those that are struggling with their athletic identity is to find that piece of their puzzle that is missing. And it might be like a totally different hobby that doesn't relate, or it could be coaching, or it can be staying involved in your sport in some way, or being a fan of it, or even playing at masters, or just even working out and finding a new relationship to that sport, or just to yourself, and how to stimulate your brain in that same kind of way that you might have had athletically, but now in a different medium as people are retiring and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that would be my best advice is find that missing puzzle piece in that missing, or your hobby. What makes you tick. Like what makes you
Yeah.
click.
No, absolutely. And that's what I always say is you need to put your eggs in more than one basket, and whether that means that you need a different hobby or something like that, like we've stated, it's so important to find things that do make you happy if you're at such a high level. That's the difference between different levels and where you are. I found myself, only surrounded by this, and so I was not thriving. But once I was able to find more, and with you as well, that's exactly what happened. And I know, and I remember when you went back to coaching and had that, and that outlet for you really just changed the game because you were able to help others and get what you needed out of that. And it's a really beautiful experience to watch someone go through it, or experience it yourself. Having your egg in one basket, or no eggs in different baskets, you're not going to be happy and you're most fulfilled. Because at the end of the day, like we've said, you are more than your sport. You're a human being. You're going to be most likely a parent. You're going to be an aunt. You're going to be an uncle. You're going to be a grandma. You're going to be a grandpa. You're going to be a family member. You're a daughter. You're a sister. You're a brother. So, finding joy in these simple things and all of the things is what mental performance really is about, and also honing in on those skills. So there's a difference between being able to hone in on those skills and then really just be able to enjoy the certain skills, because practice makes permanent. If you keep practicing, you're going to be permanent. You're going to be where you're at. You're athletically there. You are at the level. You made it to the level where you're going to be the best at, right? You've already made it there. You're there. You've done it. Now how do you keep that, and how do you keep yourself happy, and how do you continue that whilst living your life, and continuing your passions as a human being? So yeah, super super interesting topic. Could talk about it for hours. Um but we're going to start wrapping up here cuz we're already pretty much like an hour in. Um I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. They're going to be short, and then I'm going to have a little quick fire fun segment. Um One of my last couple questions, if you could go back and give your freshman self one piece of mental performance advice, what would it be?
Oh, I would tell myself to not hold on to every mistake that I make because I'm really good at I'm like see the game, see the practice, and I know exactly what time and what move and what possession things happen. Um, and for me, I know I'm good at that skill, but to let go of my mistakes and Cammy Craig, uh, Olympian for our USA national team. Um, she retired a few years
I
ago,
love
but
her.
um, yeah, she's great. But she used to say one of her famous quotes is, "One bad practice doesn't make you a bad player." And so I would tell my freshman self that,
Yes,
and
that is one of my
on addition
favorite
to that,
quotes. Oh my gosh, that is one of my favorite quotes.
yeah, and I think also like reminding myself to have fun and maybe finding my like little routine that I mentioned earlier, and playing music earlier on in my career. I mean, I played it pretty early on, but just going for it and having no walls up and fully diving into being myself and sharing myself with others, the sooner the better. And just continuing to try and love myself and be gentle to myself and not hold on to every mistake I make, you know? I think that would be my best advice for my freshman self.
Right. Perfect. And what's one message you'd love to share with young athletes about the mental side of sport?
Um, I think I said it earlier, like it's important to get your reps in. Like we talk about going to the weight room, we talk about coming to practice, we talk about, you know, getting all your reps in for a drill. But I think getting your reps in mentally and talking to professionals, talking to using your resources for whether it's a coach or an actual sports psychologist team that you have um, available to you, I think it's really important and actually shows your strength to hey ask for help or even just out of curiosity to see how you can get your reps in mentally. I i think that's my best advice to young athletes, is to use your resources, ask for help, and get your reps in. And in addition to all that too, like actively like make intention towards being the best version of yourself and the best teammate that you can be, and being self-aware I think is really important. And young athletes, I think need to be told that a little more often, is be humble enough to not only be criticized for productive criticism towards your skill and your performance as an athlete, but also ask yourself how I can be a better teammate and a better version of myself. And that being said, you have to get your reps in and you have to use your resources that are available to you to achieve that.
Right. And if you don't put the extra work in, it's gonna be noticeable at the end of the day. So hard work is very important. Lopes is one of the most hardworking people I know, and this doesn't mean not to work hard. This means to work your booty off, okay? But it also means that you are human. It is okay to make a mistake, and you don't have to be perfect all the time, because that is how I know we both see like see
Hallelujah.
ourselves personally. We're like, I have to be perfect. Hallelujah. Praise.
Hallelujah.
Okay. Hallelujah. Quickfire segment. Pre-game song that instantly locked you in.
um Be My Lover by La Roche. La la da dee da na na
Teammate who
na.
gave the best pep talks.
Well, there's so many. Maybe Dora or Emily or Celeste.
Favorite moment in a game where you felt in the zone.
um, uh, our game at Santa Clara versus LIU, junior season. Oh, or state championship.
Yes, that was a good
Um,
one.
State, yeah, duh, state championship.
Yeah.
I'd go with one. State
Oh.
championship 2022.
Yeah. 2022. All right. Those were my quick fire segment questions. All right, Mary. Um my last question for you is, what does center of focus mean to you now in life after water polo? Still in water polo. It's not after water polo, girl. You're still doing water polo. So I mean, it's not after water polo, but what does center of focus mean to you after graduation right now and going into this next stage of your life?
I think my center of focus is prioritizing happiness and a weight, being in my master's season of it all and completing my undergrad, like there's pressure to perform, but there's also like a weight kind of lifted off my shoulders because I accomplished something huge that I was looking out to do. And now being in a different part of the journey, different part of the story, like my center of focus is to have a good time and to be surrounded by good people, and good water polo. Like that's my main focus. That is what I'm trying to do, is to better myself as a person, better myself as a player and coach, and better those around me. And I really try to make intention towards that and make that my center of my life, is how can I be the best version of myself today, and how can I share that with others. So I mean, we all, there comes a point where you're not practicing every day and there's a different part of your life that is blossoming. But so far, like, so good. I've been enjoying this second phase that I'm entering and new opportunities that are coming my way. And I think, like you were saying earlier, being proud of yourself and looking back and saying, oh, like I did all this stuff, um, is a very wholesome thing. And we don't have to mourn it. We can celebrate it instead and change our focus, um, to being the best versions of ourselves. So, yeah, that's me. That's me.
Beautifully, beautifully said, Lopes. Well,
Hey,
to wrap it up, thank you so, so, so much for coming on my podcast, being my first guest, kind of, just shooting the stuff with me and really just giving some of your knowledge, which I don't even think we really dove into the surface
absolutely.
of. Yes. So we will be back next time with either just myself or another guest. Who knows? Stay tuned and thank you for listening.